Now, I bet a lot of you, just like me, value audio on the go, but maybe just like me, you guys end up stuck in that little in-between area of trying to go maximum quality, but also maximum portability and maximum convenience. I think I may have found the perfect solution for myself, and I want to tell you guys about it. Now, this is the Hiby M300. It's a DAP, but it's not just any regular DAP, at least in my experience. I want to tell you guys about my experience using the M300 and how it fits perfectly into the core of my portable audio. So welcome back, everybody. I am Awesome Danny, and we have a DAP review, which is the first for this channel. It's not the first DAP I've used, but this is the first one that was sent in for review. It was sent in by Hiby. They contacted me, reached out, hey, you want to review the M300? I was like, dude, I wanted to buy it. I was about to, so I would gladly accept it, to review. I was just, on the fence watching reviews. There's a lot of good reviews out there, but the thing is with DAPs, I feel like there's so much that they can do, and there's so many features. And in this one video, I'm probably not going to cover everything I like and dislike about this, but I want to get the basics out of the way. That way I can add on to it later, because this has taken over my main portable audio solution. Real quick, right before we get into it, if you could please like and subscribe, since it helps out the channel. All right, so let's get started till we actually get. So small, minimalistic box, eco-friendly, and not much in there. There was the cable, some paperwork, the M300 itself, of course. It already has a pre-applied screen protector, and I believe that was it. This does come in 3 different colors. We have the white one here, there is a black one, and then there's a blue one, which I think they all look pretty. It definitely looks a lot better in person than it does in the pictures. So again, going back to that price point, this is $199.99, $200. So that was the main point that attracted me to this device, that it's so cheap compared to the competition. But is it as good? Is it worth it? Is it worth spending a few more bucks and getting something maybe a little bit better? Or is it best to save the money and get this instead? Well, I've actually had this for a very long time now. I think closing in on a month, or maybe even past that. And I've been using it a lot. Like I was saying, it is very small. I take it everywhere with me nowadays. It has basically replaced my previous portable audio solution. Since mostly on the go, I use Bluetooth. I would just take my old iPhone SE first generation. Now I'm going to be doing a lot of comparisons between these two, since this replaced this for me. And I've had this for years, and for years, this was my DAP. Basically, it was my portable DAP. At my desktop, I'll use the OnePlus Nord N20, or like my cell phone, which is a Samsung with like a dongle, like BOQ11 or anything like that. But then I also have the Ibasio DX170. And while all these options have good sound, good performance, I always found it still way easier to just grab this. Like I said, mostly Bluetooth, mostly for the car. So I get in my car, this connects to the Bluetooth, and then my music plays. Then I drive. And just in case, it has a headphone jack too. So this was the best portable solution for me for years. And as I mentioned, I had plenty of options. So this had to be extremely special for it to take the spot. All right, so now that we got my life story out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the build. It's actually mostly metal, and it's very solid. It feels like one singular piece, except for this little function key. And this key is the only one of the buttons that's also metal, and it kind of rattles. I don't know if you can hear that. That's literally it. Just a little slight rattle. Everything else is very solid. There is no flex, no wiggle, no give, nothing. Glass on the back, glass on the front, plastic command buttons, plastic caps on each end. You actually have a speaker, which is kind of weird. USB-C charging port. This thing charges actually pretty quick. I think you can go from 0 to 100 in under like 2 hours. And then your 3.5 millimeter jack, which is good. It powered pretty much any IEM I have. It even powered the HD 600s back there. Fine. It didn't get too loud. It got loud enough for me, but it was still on the quieter side on the HD 600s. But on the go, I used IEMs, so not too concerned there. So overall build feels solid. Like, this thing is really nice. It feels premium. It has decent weight to it, but it still remains lightweight, easy to carry. It's a little, maybe a little bit heavier than the iPhone. It's actually very close, but no sharp edges. It's comfortable to hold in the hand. Also, one thing, and this was a very, very big deal for me, micro SD card slot, expandable storage, and a keyring loop. I'm not sure who's gonna put this on their keyring or strap it onto their bag or something. I wouldn't do that. It just doesn't seem safe. But expandable storage, awesome. That's something I didn't have on the iPhone. And as I downloaded music on the iPhone and it would get filled up, I would have to, you know, delete stuff, which sucked because I want all my K-pop with me at all times. So on build itself, I think the main issues I had here on just what you get, like, it's a lot of really cool stuff, but I didn't find myself needing the speaker like ever at all. And I would love to see the next version of this maybe skip the speaker and add a balanced output. 4.4, no 2.5, please. Nobody should ever use 2.5. 3.5 and a 4.4, that'd be nice. I mean, we'll get into it later, but there is 4.4 solutions to use with this device. So before we get into the nerd stuff, as I like to call it, all the numbers and specs and all that stuff that you can probably just Google, you don't need me to read it out to you. Let me tell you about just general usage. So the main thing I love about the M300, it's basically a phone. We have a more modern chipset here, Snapdragon 665, I believe. Let me look at my notes. Yes, Snapdragon 665. So the responsiveness, the snappiness, the speed that this device works at is great. It's like I'm using a phone. Unlike when I would go to other DAPs and other players, you can tell that they didn't have a fast chipset, or you would have to pay more to get a better chip, which sucks because DAPs can get pretty crazy in price, and it's like, I just want a cheap, decent, portable solution. So for all of you that use your cell phone as your portable music player, or use maybe an old cell phone as your music player and you carry a second one, this is basically going to be a very similar experience. It has Android 13, so you can install pretty much any app that you would on an Android phone. I mostly use this to stream music. I did download music onto it as well, and they also include the Hiby music player if you decide to use local files. But I mostly used Apple Music or Spotify and then just download onto the device. You can stream, which is great, but if you just download the files and play them off of the device, you'll get a longer battery life. The only thing is, like, I should probably get a case for it. It would have been nice if there was a case included, but it's, I mean, what you expect for the price, just the bare essentials. And if you need a case, get a case. I've been using it without a case. There's been no issues. It has a pre-installed screen protector, so again, you don't have to worry about that. Oh, also fun thing, just because it has a decent chipset, I actually installed some emulators on it and I was able to play games on it. Like, I installed Game Boy Advance, and then I dumped my Pokemon Fire Red ROM on here, played fine. I believe with this chipset you can technically play up to like PlayStation 1 with like minimal issues, if any. I mean, you're not going to play PlayStation 1 on it, but for all those little handheld pocket games that are very easy to run and have minimal commands, and maybe something turn-based like Pokemon, you can play it on the go. You can easily just, oh, I'm waiting in line at the register for, you know, buying groceries. Let me, you know, beat up this Pikachu real quick or something, and then move on with your day. Just don't do it at red lights. You guys better not be using stuff while driving. Or, you know, if you're on a short commute or a long commute, whatever, you're just hanging out, you can be listening to music and playing a game on the same device, because it's like a phone. So anything your phone can do, this can do. That's basically the review. If you want to condense it down to one sentence, it's basically a phone. There you go. All right, so now getting into the nerd stuff, which I have on a piece of paper here because I'm going to read it out because I can't remember all this stuff. Maybe I'll put something up on the screen so it doesn't look like I'm reading from a paper and it just sounds like I'm like saying everything from memory, so it makes me look smart. We'll see. We'll see how editing Danny feels about this. Nerd stuff. 4-inch screen, IPS display. Screen resolution is 1280 by 640. So in use, resolution seems fine. Like watching videos, watching, you know, TV shows, whatever, it was fine. It was good. I mean, I guess if you want to watch stuff and have it on speaker, that's why Hiby included the speaker. The thing is, the speaker's kind of weak. Like it's decent sound, but it's kind of weak. So as soon as you're in any environment where there's some noise, it starts overpowering the speaker pretty quick. Like I mentioned, Snapdragon 665 chip, and that is the core of the performance for this device. That's why it's so fast and capable. So for the battery, we have a 2000 milliamp hour battery. They rate it at 29 hours, which is about accurate if you have, you know, a lot of the permissions disabled for the background apps. So if there's background stuff running, like I like just try to get the least amount of battery out of this just to test. So I had background stuff running. I would use a dongle with this and I would stream music, and I got about half of that, which is still like charge once every 2 days device at around 15 hours. So at 29 hours, if you just load this up with your music files and then, you know, cut the Wi-Fi, don't use Bluetooth, it's going to last forever. It's going to be charged maybe once a week, depending how you use it. It's pretty nice. And for the DAC chip, we have the CS43131 Cirrus Logic. So for the sound, it gives it a very like in between sound. It sounds, you know, detailed, clean, but it's not as clean and analytical as something like the ESS chips I have on some of the devices, but it's also not as fuzzy and warm sounding as the AKM chips that I have on some other devices. It's a nice middle ground, so you get a full, richer, clean sound, which is good. It's nice. It does support Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and I think it supports every single codec. It supports LDAC, SBC, AASC, and all the aptics from my testing. I don't think there was a single one. Yeah, no, it supported all of them. I mean, I mostly use LDAC anyways, so LDAC gang. So for the power is 103 milliwatts at 32 ohms. And from experience, because I can't tell you what the heck that means, like it had enough to drive IMs. Any IM that I used on it, it drove it fine. But I know that I tend to be a lower volume listener. Like for example, on the DX170, I listened to most IMs on that thing between like 10 and 15 volume. And on the M300, I had to go to about 40 to 50%. And on some of them, like the variations, I had to go a little bit above 50%. So I feel like while it gets plenty loud and can drive pretty much any IM, some people might not like how they don't have as much headroom as they do on other devices, which brings me to basically the recap of my usage. If you use this as a phone, basically, it's tiny, it's light, it's built well. You can use dongles with this as well. You can use Bluetooth wireless DACs with this as well. So like the Qtlex 5K, the iFi Go Blue, like they worked fine. You can, you know, LDAC those up. You can throw this somewhere, you know, in your backpack or pocket, and then, you know, clip on the Q5K onto your shirt or something. There you go. There is solutions to some of the shortcomings by using it as the core. So basically how, I know I keep going back to this, how you would use your phone. You know, you connect it to a Bluetooth DAC. Okay. You can connect it to a dongle, and you can even use like, you know, 4.4 dongles. Like I have the Hiby's S9 Pro Plus I used with this. I used the BOQ11 with this, but basically it just worked. That's one thing. I didn't have any issues where I had to find some workaround or figure some other solution. It's just, if I wanted this to do something, it did it. I just had to set it up. Except for BOQ11 cable, that cable sucks. It did not work with this. I had to swap to the Colorfly M1D something. I used the cable off of that one. So if you end up getting this, double check the cables, because it seems like some of them don't work. All right, just to go into a recap of the M300. So I really like how portable it is. I really like that it does its intended functions very well. I really like that it is so easy to use. I really love expandable memory. That way I don't have to worry about how much music I'm downloading. Also, when I load up the ROMs and stuff to play games, I don't like the speaker. I mean, I don't use it. Some people might. It's a good inclusion if it's something that you use. I personally don't use it. I would have preferred a 4.4 balance termination out of here. And again, I probably missed a lot of stuff. Like it can do anything that your phone can do. So basically, just think of it as a smaller phone for music. Rec rating. So I actually give this a rec rating of 3. In my opinion, it's a good product and it's worth the MSRP. I know it's on sale. I think it was on sale recently for like 30 bucks off, which is great. I mean, 170 bucks for this. Awesome. I wonder if Hiby is going to continue to build up on this platform. Maybe we get a M400 or whatever, M300 number 2, M301. I don't know. I'm not even sure why this is called the M300. Hiby, why is this the M300? Why isn't it called something cool like the Hiby Digital DAP 1 or DAP me up? Right? I mean, you kids these days like that, right? You dap each other up or something. I don't know. Comment down below if I'm outdated. I thought that was a new thing. Maybe it's already in the past and I'm just, you know, old. So Hiby M300, great product. Get it if you want portability, good performance, good sound, and lots of versatility. Do not get it if you want just a single device with 4.4 or just a lot of power out of the 3.5. That is basically its only shortcoming. All right, so that's it, guys. I am Awesome Danny. Until next time, you stay awesome, friends. Bye.